So think about this for a second. What if I told you that the phrase for medicine taking effect and the one for the brakes are working could use the exact same root word? It sounds kind of crazy, right? Well, what if that same word in two totally different languages could actually unlock a 1,500-year-old story about a shared past? Today, we're going to decode a linguistic mystery that connects Korean and Japanese in a way you have probably never, ever imagined.
All right, let's dive right into this thing. So on the surface, you've got the Korean word for to hear, which sounds something like 듣다, and then you have the Japanese word kiku. They sound completely different, right? Not even close. But when we start looking at how they're actually used, something absolutely incredible starts to happen.
Get a load of this. When you're talking about hearing a sound, it's a perfect match. When you're talking about medicine finally kicking in, bam, perfect match. How about listening to someone's advice or obeying them? Yep, you guessed it, another perfect match. And it doesn't stop there. Even for something mechanical, like a car's brakes working properly, it's a one-to-one identical mapping. Now this isn't just a simple similarity. This is the same exact logical structure being applied to four completely different ideas. In the world of linguistics, finding a parallel this perfect is, well, it's almost unheard of.
So this just raises a huge question, doesn't it? How is this even possible? Is this some kind of 1 in a billion linguistic coincidence? Or are we actually looking at a kind of linguistic fossil, a piece of ancient evidence that points to a much, much deeper connection between these two languages than we thought?
Okay, to crack this case, we have to stop thinking about the surface-level translation of to hear. That's not where the secret is. Instead, we need to dig deeper and find the original design, the shared blueprint that both of these words were built from. I mean, what's the one core idea that ties together hearing, medicine, obedience, and brakes?
And here it is. This is the key. The shared concept has nothing to do with ears at all. The real meaning is an external force penetrates an object and causes an internal reaction. Just think about it for a second. A sound wave enters the ear and causes you to hear. Medicine enters the body and causes a healing reaction. A command enters the mind and causes you to obey. A foot pushes the pedal, a force enters the braking system, and it causes the car to stop. It all clicks into place. This is our first major clue.
We can actually break this blueprint down into three really simple steps. First, you've got penetration. That's the outside force entering a system. Second, you have the reaction. That's the system responding on the inside. And third, and this is crucial, you have alignment. The stimulus and the response match up perfectly. The medicine works, the brakes engage. This one single elegant concept is like the shared DNA inside both 듣다 and kiku. Okay, so we've got the shared meaning down. The soul of the word is the same. But what about the sounds? I mean, doit and kuku still sound nothing alike. How did we get from one to the other? Well, for that, we have to crack the sound code, and it turns out there's a linguistic smoking gun. The key, the absolute linchpin here, is a well-known and documented linguistic rule. The transformation of the Korean D sound, which is kind of like our D, into the Japanese K sound, which is like a K or a G. And this isn't just some wild guess. It's a predictable, known pattern of sound change that happened when words migrated from the Korean peninsula over to Japan centuries and centuries ago.
And look, this isn't just a one-off fluke. We see this exact same sound shift in tons of other word pairs. For instance, the Korean word dangori, which means a lump or a clump, becomes katamari in Japanese. The word for answer, 대답, becomes kotai. The pattern is consistent, it's predictable, and it's pretty much undeniable. You know, there's actually a really simple physical reason for the shift. The Korean dut sound is made with the tip of your tongue right up near your teeth. It's a dental sound. But the Japanese ki sound is made way in the back of your mouth, with the back of your tongue near the soft palate. It's a velar sound. So over time, the place where the sound was made simply drifted backward in the mouth. A tiny little shift of the tongue, and dut becomes the ancestor of kiku.
So we've connected the meaning, and we've connected the sound. Case closed, right? Well, not quite. The story might actually go even deeper. Let's peel back one final layer of history here and look at what might be the true original source, the physical posture of one of our ancient ancestors. Just think about this. What if the original word wasn't about the passive result? You know, hearing something. What if it was about the active, physical action you have to take to listen really carefully? You know that gesture you make when you're trying to catch a really faint sound? This slide just lays out the final theory so brilliantly. The whole story might have started with a different Korean word, 기울이다, which means to incline or to lean. Picture it, someone physically leaning their ear forward to listen. Over hundreds of years, that root action, gyul, seems to have phonetically morphed into the Japanese root kiku. The physical action, leaning in, became fossilized into the word we now use for the result, hearing. It's absolutely fascinating.
So after looking at the shared blueprint, the laws of sound change, and even a physical gesture that got frozen in time, we can finally put all of these pieces of the puzzle together and deliver the final verdict on this ancient linguistic case.
So what's the big takeaway here? The incredible connection between dutta and kiku is absolutely not an accident. It's a perfect, prime example of how ancient Korean root words, carrying these incredibly deep and abstract concepts, traveled across the sea and literally helped build the very framework of the Japanese language.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? These words that we just use every day without a second thought, they're like living fossils. They carry the DNA of our ancestors' thoughts, their actions, their incredible journeys. What other amazing stories are just hiding there, in plain sight, waiting for us to decode them in the words we speak every single day?